Welcome to Ready Layer 2 with me, Get.Small. This is a podcast for the founders, innovators, and experimenters building the future of Web3 on Arbitrum. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ready Layer 2 podcast. I'm your host, Don Lee, otherwise known as Get.Small, and I am sitting here with Defi Dog, making a return visit to the show. Welcome to the show, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. And I guess I'm fully doxxed now. You can call me Nick or Defi Dog, whatever you want.
Nick, the Defi Dog. All right, man. It's good to have you back. Good to see your face on the screen. And we're going to be kind of picking up the conversation where we left off. Last time when you were here, we were talking about just the path that you took to building up an audience on X, writing threads, doing research, just putting out good content and like seeing where that would take you. And we'll link up that in the show notes down below, obviously, so anybody can catch up on it. That is an audio only, but you'll be able to get on all the same channels. And definitely worth checking out because it kind of lays the groundwork for, I think, a lot of what we're going to talk about today. But for anybody who didn't listen to that, just to give them some context, if you would, just take us through that high level. What was the basis for you getting started on Twitter and writing these threads and everything else?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me on, first of all. And say the basis of me starting that goes all the way back to obviously just the knack for crypto and then just becoming absolutely obsessed with it to a point where I was talking to everyone about it, yet nobody wanted to talk to me about it. As I'm sure a couple of people have noticed at their family dinners and all that good stuff. You're telling your family to buy the top and whatnot. But beside the point, I was obviously telling people about it. No one wanted to hear about it. So I was like, heck, why don't I go write about it on Twitter or X, and started doing that, dived into Arbitrum, started learning about all the main projects on that and doing full write-ups on them, and people started liking it, started gaining a following, and obviously that motivated me to create more content, connect with other people, and then that kind of turned into Defi Dog. And yeah, in short, that's where we are today. Obviously, go listen to that episode. It's way more in detail of what we chatted about and getting to where we are now. So
yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's looking to get into making content and making good, useful content that people actually care about and get some value out of, lots of good details in there. And we get in the weeds too. We're talking about how you pick your images and how you lay out threads and how you do your research and everything. So there's a lot of good detail there. And you built up a really nice following there. I think you definitely north of like 10,000 followers, I believe, like on the account there. So you had a good following and good active following too. It seemed like you always had a lot of comments on there and a lot of back and forth with your folks. Definitely built something that you could leverage and build off of. And that's what we're here to talk about today, right? Like you built that up and then you did something with it. So why don't you tell us about that? What was the next steps after we left our conversation back in May or whenever that was?
Yeah, so I guess we'll call this one the power of the community. And it's definitely not something that I intended to do. It's just what happened through joining such a vibrant ecosystem, which we call Arbitrum. Like you said, the engagement's pretty good. Lots of comments, lots of people in the network that I can talk with, which is just, it's amazing to actually get. You can have a lot of these big accounts with whatever, 50 to 100,000 followers, and they have very minimal engagements. They're not engaging with their community on an individual level,
right?
Or they're buying their followers or something like that, but not saying anything that way. But yeah, then I build this community, and then it's led me into the next part of my Web3 journey where I'm now combining my previous sales experience, my passion for crypto, into a new position here at Define Data. And I think it all comes down to what do you really want to do for a job? And I was thinking a lot about that previously. And I think like a job that you truly enjoy doing, it's somewhere between the lines of your skills, your passion, and your knowledge. Putting those three together really creates some kind of joy, at least so far. That's what it's done. And then going into kind of how I got this, I obviously have a little bit of a follower on Twitter, and then maybe in our previous podcast, we talked about my sales position and my previous sales history. So I have maybe 7-8 years of sales experience, and I wanted to go into my passion, which is Web3, and then I had the following to do so. So I ran into a little bit of problems in my previous job with my boss. Didn't like him, didn't like working for the sales agency and everything like that. So I went to my community. I started messaging pretty much every single project that I've done a thread for previously, anyone in my network, hey, do you know of any startups that are looking for salespeople or even marketing people for that matter? Because obviously I had some previous skills with building my Defi Dog account there. So that kind of proof that I had, plus my community. And then this led me to finding my job, which, funny enough, long story short, is I met someone on Twitter. They let me know about this project called Gamma Swap. And I decided to write a thread for Gamma Swap. And before I posted it, I sent it to the Gamma Swap Twitter page. So I connected with them there, joined my community and everything. And then they put a couple comments on the thread, and then I put it out. And that was like 4 to 6 months before I actually started this position. And then reached out to them and then said, hey, are you guys hiring or something like that? And he goes, we're not actually hiring at Gamma Swap, but I've actually just became an advisor for this other data provider called DefineFi. And yeah, like I can get you an interview. So I was like, oh, sweet,
Nice.
well, whatever. Interview, didn't really know much about Define, did a little bit of research and was like, oh, it's really cool. And ended up meeting with the founder, Mike, and jumped on the phone call with him. We were just chatting, blah, blah. And right at the beginning, obviously, where are you from? What are you doing? Everything. So, because where are you from? And I go, oh, West Coast of Canada, Vancouver area, whatever. And he goes, oh, like, where in the Vancouver area? Like Victoria? And I go, yeah, Victoria. But I always just say Vancouver because no one ever knows where Victoria is.
Right.
And he goes, oh, we're in Victoria.
Oh, get out of here.
And during the interview, he literally just turns the camera and shows me what we call Market Square, which happens to be a 30-minute walk from where I live in Victoria.
Well,
That's
a
to
pretty nice
fully
coincidence.
dox myself pretty much. So that just,
you're all out there now.
I'm all out there, no turning back. The genie's out of the bottle. So yeah, that was just like, we were just both like in shock because never mind meeting with people and showing your face or whatever, and then just meeting people in your country that are in crypto.
Right.
Never mind, meeting someone in your city, but like, never mind, like meeting a company that's like 30 minutes away from
right in your neighborhood. Yeah.
Right in your neighborhood. It's like the chance of that was, very, very slim. So obviously
That's pretty amazing.
Helped my case. And then I had to leverage the community to meet one of the advisors for DefineFi. And then we went back and forth. And lo and behold, due to having sales experience plus actually knowing crypto, and then them being in my city led to this position here. And specifically said that where they really wanted someone that knew crypto because it's just such a different landscape. People are screaming at each other with pepes and everything like that. And like a normal salesperson exactly. Like a normal salesperson just wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't understand like why people are talking on Telegram and not like Facebook Messenger emails or something like that, right? It's just so different. So that was like a huge part of getting hired, is that I, had crypto experience, and obviously I had a way of displaying that through my Twitter account. So
that's pretty amazing. So yeah, and like tying this back to the starting point of all this, this wasn't your plan. You just wanted to talk about this stuff, and then you wanted to build up an audience. You had lots of people to talk about it, and maybe had something to build on in the long run. But that's, if you're doing this stuff and you're out there and you're providing value to a community, then you earn the right to turn around and ask people if they have job openings or can help you find them. And they will, right? Because you've proven already to be a good actor, proven to be a person of value, you've proven to be someone that can be trusted. And they'll say, yeah, I will recommend you to a friend, or I will introduce you to a friend, etc. So I think that's huge. And I think it's a huge takeaway to anybody who wants to do something and maybe isn't even sure what that is yet. Getting started with content creation can move you towards the thing that you don't even know you want yet, and create opportunities like this. So I think that's a really cool call out. And yeah, I'm sure they were thrilled too to find somebody in the neighborhood, right? Obviously everybody works remote now, so that's no big deal. But being having the ability to get together face to face when, when it's advantageous. Like that's huge. And being right in the neighborhood, that's really cool. Like
Yeah,
obviously creates a
just
fun story too.
being able to come into the office. And
Yeah.
my previous job, I was fully remote. So, I never really got to meet the people that I worked with.
Hmm.
And I thought I really did want that at the beginning, to be able to work remote and just be at home and whatever. And it had its benefits, but it definitely had its downsides. And the last couple of weeks, I've been coming to the office every single day, and I have an amazing walk in the morning to come here. Like, I've really enjoyed it so far because I get to meet people. Someone brought their dog into the office today. I get to like pet
Yeah.
dogs. It's awesome. But yeah, it comes to saying that your community and a following is like probably one of the greatest assets you can have in today's day. Because like you said, you can go to people and you
100%.
can start asking for things, quote unquote, but really it's just talking to people.
Right on. That's why it's not like you're going out and like asking for someone to build you a house or something, but you tell them what you're after, and people tend to want to help, especially if you've been helpful to them in the past. And I
And
think that's the key. So just I always tell everybody that just create value wherever you are. If you're in a place, you're doing a thing, try to do it in a way that creates value for the people around you, and take care to do that, and let them see that you care, that they get value from having a
yeah.
relationship with you, and that just like stuff happens as a result of it, no doubt.
Yeah, and I didn't even consider myself like a writer before either. I liked reading, but never really took the time to write any time in the day. I didn't think I was like a decent writer of any sort, but just
Hmm.
start and see what happens. Just put it out there, get better.
Yep. And the act of writing changes you too. Like it changes your ability to process the information. And I'm sure people have heard that adage, if you want to find out if you really know something, try to teach it. That applies
Mhm.
here, right? Like figuring out how to explain it through a written medium too, where you don't have that person there who can ask you questions and help fix you. Like you really have to get good at getting to the point and getting it to it concisely and getting it to it in a way that's interesting enough that people aren't just nodding off and not paying attention. Like it's a powerful skill to build up, and really like I found it helps me do everything better. I'm faster on my feet. I'm a faster thinker. I could do things now that I couldn't do prior to writing, prior to doing podcasts and all those things. So yeah, just all of those intangible skills that you get out of it are huge too. So tell
Yeah.
me about DefineFi here. What does the company do?
Yeah. So DefineFi at its heart, it actually started as, or the founder started it because he too was very much a degen. Um, and don't worry, he's okay with me calling him a degen because he really is. Um, he
It's a
used,
badge of honor in
he
this space.
exactly. His kind of background was actually just pretty much as soon as Uniswap came out, he wanted to be the first person to buy the shitcoin essentially and then sell it. He found that there was a lack of information to help you in that process, or maybe the landscape started getting more competitive. So he actually turned to creating the data tools to help him find, the latest and greatest piece of shit, quote unquote. So what it is, it's a very powerful search tool for token information, new tokens, also NFTs. We have a lot of NFT data there that you can check out. Some very powerful filter tools that you can play around with and help you find new tokens, help you find information that might not be there. We have quite a bit of enriched data to just help you see what's really going on with that. And then obviously there's not a lot of money in just providing shitcoin data to degens and everything like that. So it's then turned into an API service for projects. So anything that we built on that website is what someone can use in their project to help their end user have a more pleasant experience, whether that be embedding charts, just having more data for them to access about whether their token or tokens that they have on it. And it's good enough that TradingView uses it. So TradingView is actually one of our biggest partners, and they use quite a bit of our data. I think they are currently using about 2,000 pairs of data, and they want to go up to about 10,000 or so pairs and everything. So they use our data for a lot of like the bars in their charts. And yeah, they've used us because we have an extremely high uptime. We don't really go down, and our data is extremely accurate. So we wear their partnership obviously with a badge of honor because they're the biggest player in their space there for charting tools. And yeah, that's it there. Always
Very
recommend
nice.
playing around with it and just seeing what's there.
Yeah, I pulled up the site here and I can see like NFTs, tokens, things like that, and some tools for drilling into all of this stuff. And this, I imagine for individuals, this is where you can have a little bit of fun.
I know there's just tons of information on there. It's obviously, I was surprised when I first started diving into it that more people didn't know about it. The main one, obviously, people use like Dex Tools and Dex Screener for all their charting and token data and everything like that.
Yep.
So
Yep,
didn't
that's
really
where
know
I end
about
up.
them because we actually mainly are on the back end trying to build these kind of tools for other projects. But
Sure.
it's all there accessible for everyone else too. We just use it as a showcase of what we can build for people.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
So this display is not the point. This display is a sample of what can be done with the data.
yeah,
Very
exactly.
cool.
And but we do upkeep it, and obviously, like a lot of other API providers do amazing work, obviously, just like everyone else in the space. But they don't actually have a way to showcase the charting tools and the data that they actually offer to their customers. So this is our way to just show off how much data we have and how quick that data is, how enriched it is as well.
Okay. Very cool. So what does your day to day look like there? You said you took a sales role there. Like what exactly are you selling the APIs? Are you selling the data? Tell us a little bit more specifically about the role that you're doing.
My role here is quote unquote sales development. It's turned into a whole other plethora of things. As I'm sure you guys know, in startups, you wear many hats and
You get
whatnot.
lots
So
of
now I'm
jobs.
actually
Yeah.
doing, yeah, obviously due to my previous experience with my Twitter account. So I will be doing marketing and sales there because obviously it just makes sense. Marketing creates leads and then they can turn those leads into sales opportunities. So it just, they go hand in hand. It makes total sense to do both. So on a daily, I'm filtering all the leads that come in with them, doing initial calls. As I mentioned to you, I was just on a call with the lads at Utopia. Shout out to them. Watch their episode that just came out. The little
Yeah.
plug.
Yeah. I think I may have posted their episode while you were on the phone with them.
Yeah, super funny. So, I was just having a chat with them and we're discussing what they want their product to build into and how data plays a role in that. A perfect example was they just wanted to display more data about their NFT. We can use the knowers, the new mint that just went out there, for example. I was just playing around on Define to see what kind of data pops up there. And boom, we had the knowers right away, historical real time data, the
Nice.
profile picture, all the past sales and everything like that. And they just articulated that they wanted essentially that data on their website. And that's what it looks like. We create charting tools and allow this data to be presented in a more digestible manner for the end users so that they obviously want to use the website and can make more educated decisions with the data.
Yep.
That's what it looks like. I'm generating leads through marketing, and then I'm going to be turning those leads into opportunities that can go down the pipeline. And then the goal there is obviously to bring in clients that either want to incorporate these tools into their website or potentially they need more help with indexing their data or creating tools to allow them to index and show their data in a more digestible manner. And yeah, day to day, it's a bunch of things. You're jumping back and forth. And
Oh yeah. Startup life can be fun. That's your
yeah,
kind of my biggest tip for you or for anybody operating those 12 roles in a startup is like figure out what are the things that you're avoiding. Because if when you have lots of responsibilities, it's real easy to deprioritize the thing that you hate doing and not have good excuses for it. For me, it was always cold calling. And
yeah,
like when I was in the startup, one of the things I had a similar role to you the last time I was in a startup, there was a lot of biz dev involved, which means cold calling, getting those opportunities going. And I hate it.
yeah,
I hate doing it. Super
yeah.
effective. I don't know why I can't get over it, but I would always deprioritize that. And I'd always have 6 really good excuses for why I didn't have time for it today. But at the end of the day, it was bad for me. I had to keep being disciplined and pushing it and saying, no, today we make calls. We're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout.
What's the
You
saying
and
there
the
is
listener.
it's swallow the frog. So
Oh,
what's that
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
It's
That's the Mark Twain
do
thing.
what you hate most
Yep.
first in the day.
Yep.
But
If
yeah,
you have to
luckily,
eat a frog in the day, eat it first thing in the morning. And if you have to eat 2
yeah,
frogs, eat the bigger one first.
exactly.
That's the quote.
Said it way better than I did. But luckily, obviously, I'm doing parts in the startup that I obviously enjoy. We mentioned before that I did operate a business fully by myself during university, where I did do everything through production,
Yeah, so
marketing,
you know the drill.
sales,
Yep.
HR. Where this one, I'm focused mainly on the sales and marketing part, which I really do enjoy. And like my day to day is like infinitely better than my previous job. Like
Yep.
I,
Yep.
I'm truly excited to go to work, and it's,
That's
just a
awesome.
great pleasure to be able to say that and come to work and talk to people like you and everything. Like this is
Yeah,
technically like working
exactly.
in a way.
Yeah, you're
Um,
marketing right now. This is earned media right here, talking about the fine
exactly.
fi on a podcast that's going to go out into the communities that you serve, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's yeah. If you get to do this for work, that's when the fun's happening, right?
Yeah. So really love it.
And it all started
And
because
yeah,
your family wouldn't buy the crypto. They wouldn't listen to you. They wouldn't
yeah.
talk to you
Or
about
they
it.
would listen to me. Yeah. Or I just had to
They
be
wouldn't
the
just
one to
humor
listen.
me. I had to go build a whole career because you guys wouldn't just humor me.
Exactly. Yeah. Luckily, they didn't listen to me first time
Yeah,
I started
good.
talking
Good,
about
good,
it
good.
as it was at the top, but maybe they should listen now because I feel like we're at a better place.
Perhaps. I always
Perhaps. We'll
tell
see what
everybody. I
happens.
always, if people ask me about it, I always tell them you shouldn't buy any of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's like my foolproof medicine. Then suddenly they're interested and they want to know more. I'm like, no, this isn't for you. You don't want to get into all this.
Yeah. I just say, yeah, buy Bitcoin or buy Ethereum and then never think about it again.
Yeah,
I never recommend
that's
altcoins.
safe advice too. All right,
Yeah.
awesome. So now doing this, obviously your day to day, you're happy, right? Like you said it in the beginning, is you found the thing that you're passionate about. You have a type of work that you're good at in sales and outreach and marketing. You found that you were good at that. So you're getting to do the thing you love to do, and you're getting to exercise your talents and your skills, which is really important to feeling good every day. Like when you put all this in, and is this what you expected, right? Like when you said I want to go full time in Web3, we hear people say that all the time. When you said I want to go full time in Web3, you pictured something in your head, and now you're experiencing it. How close is it? Is it all you hoped it would be?
Yeah. Great question. Um, Back then, before I actually started looking for actual jobs, like I wanted to join a company without a token, funny enough, so that the company performance and sentiment wouldn't be tied to a token price.
Hmm.
So it's not super volatile. Back then, obviously, like my idea of full-time crypto was just to be like a marketer for with my Twitter account and produce some income that way. And not saying that's not a viable option, and it is for many. I wanted to be able to talk to people more often and then come in and actually meet people in the space. Obviously, I'm quite young and wanted to be around people that have been in crypto a lot longer than I have so that I can progress a lot more like that. Where then when I'm working by myself, threading and everything like that, it's just me, myself, and I, and then the people I interact with. So like my founder was like mined Bitcoin in 2013 and was the
Nice.
first to like mine Doge
OG.
in 2014 and everything. So it's just like
Yeah.
being able to have these conversations with other people that are passionate about it is super awesome. In terms of like actually what it seemed like, what I thought versus what it actually is, I don't think so. I came in thinking that I would have a little bit more structure around my role, but it's just turned into like I'm the first salesperson in the company and
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to create these processes and go out and do things how I want to with someone that I can ask and bounce ideas off and all that kind of good stuff. So I think it's honestly
Yeah.
better than I thought it was going to be.
Just
And
having
yeah,
that experienced person to work with and to talk through your ideas with is huge. And like obviously, I'm sure you had folks that you were talking with when you were doing your research and whatnot before, but you were probably more on your own, right? This was your work, your writing for you, for the audience, but you were doing it yourself. There wasn't really anybody to go through that ahead of time, and then you kind of launch it out there and hope it hit. Like now, you like having that extra bit. I could totally see that. That does help you make things better when you have that alternate perspective from somebody else who really cares about the thing too, right? Because you guys are on a team and you're both trying to accomplish something. So I could see that
yeah,
being a huge bump up in the day to day and how it feels doing that work there.
yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
definitely was. And I talked about just like how much I like, it doesn't really feel like work. Like I'm literally just getting paid to do what I was before, plus like a couple other things, which is like super awesome. And
Yeah, to me, that's
I
the
think,
people when people say they want to go full time Web3. That's what I think most time they're saying is I want to do the stuff that I have fun doing because I want to, but I want to do that all
yeah,
the time instead of having to go do the thing I don't want to do. Whether it be they want to work at whatever in a factory or a restaurant, an office, whatever it is. Like they want
yeah.
to replace that part with more of the stuff that they have fun. and doing, and do it in a way that still pays the bills and lets them take care of their families and
Yeah.
whatnot. So yeah, you can realize in that, right?
Yeah, I think it ties back into kind of what I've said before, where like a job that you like and that you really enjoy is something that aligns like your skills, passion, and knowledge. And I feel like I've really hit that intersection here where I have previous skills or sales experience. That's my skill. I guess you can argue that like crypto is a skill, but not really. I think that align more with the knowledge part. So like
Mm-hmm.
my knowledge is a lot of Web3 skills, sales, marketing, and then passion, Web3. And then that kind of leads into each where you learn a lot because you're passionate about it. And then you gain a lot of skills because you're passionate and actually want to do it. So I think obviously this isn't the end game. This is not like at utopia, whatever you want to call it, found everything that I want. No, but I think it's like a definite closer into what I want to do.
Yeah, you're moving
So,
along the
so
continue. Exactly. You didn't have anyone to
yeah,
talk to about it. Then you built a community, you had a whole bunch of people to talk about it. Now you're getting to do it all day long, every day, and get paid for it. And yeah, you keep building on that, keep building. And I think what you just described there is a really important point too, is when you're in that position where you get to spend all of your best energy on the thing, you're going to grow a lot faster too, right? If you have to spend a whole
100%.
bunch of good energy doing the non Web3 job and then spend what energy is left on threading and researching and everything else, you did a fantastic
Yeah,
job on it. But if you had the best energy for that and you got to devote all of your time and thinking to it, it probably would have been better. So yeah, you get to
yeah.
grow faster. It creates more of like that upward spiral kind of scenario or flywheel effect that you hear people refer to. I think that's a super important point for people to kind of
I
take
was
note
actually
of here.
thinking about that the other day, funny enough, where now I get to spend my like working day hours diving into the stuff and learning about it and a lot more depth to it. And obviously, because Define files, charting tools and everything like that, a part of onboarding this has just been like learning that. So I'm getting to play around with charts and find new tokens.
Hmm.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Yeah, that's awesome. You definitely find yourself in a good spot. So tell me, so obviously DefineFi is not a Arbitrum specific organization. You guys are looking at all the chains and all the tokens and everything. But is there anything specific there that they do for Arbitrum or any particular big Arbitrum players that they support, anything along those lines?
yeah. So yeah, we actually support obviously multiple chains. I think we're on like 48 chains now. So we try to obviously index all of that data and make it
Hmm.
readily available. But funny enough, I was very pleasantly surprised because obviously I've been in Arbitrum for so long and it's like my main hub where I spend all my
Hmm.
time. And I was pretty happy to hear that when the founder was telling me about Arbitrum is we were actually the first provider of charting tools and data for Arbitrum, which was like
Very nice.
blew my mind quite a bit. So we had all their data readily available at launch.
Hmm.
So people could use all of our tools that we have on the website there for Arbitrum tokens. We were actually in talks with Camelot of building support for their custom contracts for the endpoints in their website. Unfortunately, I think they just got too big and too popular too fast for us.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
they're doing
don't know
okay.
the full story behind that, but they're doing pretty good now. It obviously would have been super awesome to have them as a client. And if
Hmm.
you guys are listening, we're still open to have that conversation. But yeah, it was really cool to see that we had some kind of deep Arbitrum ties into it. I'm sure you guys will see me talking a lot in Arbitrum into Arbitrum projects because that's mainly where my network is right now.
Yep.
Projects like Utopia and many others that we had a conversation with today to see if we can bring that data.
Yeah, right on. Now, if you could describe like the organization that you think could most value from this, like types of platforms or protocols, et cetera, do you think would really get a lot of value out of having access to this data?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't think the answer is like as straightforward as you'd be hoping because any project that uses any kind of data and creates endpoints for their
Hmm.
users can use us. It's one of the coolest parts about working here is that I get to talk to every kind of project, whether that be, a lending platform, an NFT pad platform, a DEX, a perp DEX, you name it. Anyone that is going to use on-chain data in a way that needs to be organized, which is everyone, we can partner with them and provide value. So it's
Got it. Yeah,
exciting.
obviously, data rich industry we're working in here, and that's the reason why it is what it is. That everything's on the blockchain. It's accessible, mutable, and you can do things with it. And I think in a lot of ways, we're really just still scratching the surface to what is possible with all of this stuff. That's what excites me so much about continuing to learn and grow in the space is we're still in the very, very early stages of this stuff going into mainstream economy and mainstream industry and solving
Yeah.
real problems. And the idea of having, I've spent most of my career in healthcare trying to move healthcare data, and the data is very much not open there for good reasons from a privacy standpoint, obviously, but like for bad reasons from how hard it is to move when you're supposed to be able to move it. So the idea of having data readily available that anybody can go and take and use it to add value to things or combine it with things to create value. There's so many cool things are going to come out of this, and tools like Define-Fi obviously are going to be a big enabler of that. So super exciting stuff. I'm very happy for you, man. This is awesome watching you build your base and build your skill set with the research and threads and everything else, and being able to turn that into now the full-time job, like the dream scenario of the DGen to be able to do this full-time every day. So very happy for you. Super excited to be able to continue to watch you grow and see where you take this stuff and continue to work with you on things like this and whatever else may come, man. So just appreciate the friendship, appreciate your time and coming to share with the listener here. And hopefully some people could pick up some tips and find their way to a good day job in Web3 as well.
Peak DGen.
Peak DGen operating.
Well, likewise,
hours,
man. It was, obviously great to hop on again. And I'm happy we can continue to have these. And hopefully we can have some more later down the line where I don't know what the next step is from here, but obviously just started this one. So we'll see how this goes. And then we'll kind of report back later down the line. And,
man, I'm down. Keep really building. We'll figure out where we go from here. Where can people go to connect with you? Obviously online, Twitter and whatnot. And then where can they find more information about the Define-Fi?
Yeah, definitely. Main place, obviously Twitter at the Defi Dog. Connect with me individually there. And then you can check out our Twitter page at Defined, and you can check out our website, Define-Fi, and play with our charting tools and see if potentially that can bring value to you on an individual level or to your project.
Awesome. Linked up down below as always. Once again, Nick, Defi Dog. Thanks, man. Appreciate the time today. And to you, the listener, viewer, we'll see you next time on the Ready Layer 2 podcast. Thank you for listening to Ready Layer 2. If you're an Arbitrum builder with a story to share, then hit me up on Twitter at GitSmall, GITSMOL. Learn more at gitsmall.com.